Hello friends, today we are going to talk about the no need objection. When people say they don't need life insurance, or they say they don't have the money for life insurance, in both cases we can talk on this particular example to help them to understand the very great need of buying life insurance. Now in this episode today, what I am going to talk about is, a very simple question. We are just in the midst of the Russian-Ukraine war, and as I am shooting here, the war is just at its peak. And I just asked this question, when was the last war? I don't know when it was. In India, we had the war in 1972. We had the war prior to that. And then there was the Kargil war. So just about 3 or 4 wars that India had throughout from its independence. And yet this question is, why do countries spend so much on defense? Because really, is that important? If there were just 4 wars in our around 70 years of of freedom that we have had, so do we really require to make expenses on defense? But you will be shocked. In our country, in India, in the year 21-22, we spent 4,78,000 lakh crores. Okay, so basically, 4,78,000 crores. This much amount was spent on defense. Just imagine if we had not spent on defense, how much more people could we have educated? This particular budget of defense was around 2.4% of GDP, almost 2.5% of GDP. Whereas you know how much we spent on education? Our country just spent 93,000 crore on education. If they could have increased, taken out the defense budget, taken out all that 4,78,000 crores and put it into education, just imagine the gigantic kind of impact that it would make on our country and its future. Really, if every kid in this country could get educated because of this budget. And today we are actually not putting money where it should be. The education is something very important. And when I say that we should not spend this on defense, many of you and many of your clients will think it is foolish. And I would also think it would be foolish. Because the reason why we spend on defense is, it's called an equilibrium. We have to maintain equilibrium, which means if our neighboring country is having a certain kind of, war equipment and the number of people and men and army and navy and air force and, planes and all these other things. And if our country, with the objective of doing something good and putting that money for education, will greatly endanger the lives of the people. So this is something very important, and you also would tell me that, sir, it is something very ridiculous that you are asking that the government should not spend this much on defense, and instead they should divert this money to education. However said and done, that would have been a very good thing. But as I said, to maintain equilibrium, they have to do it. Now tell me, why would a country spend so much amount of money on defense when it could as well at least shift maybe 50% of that into education? And the countries cannot do it. It's useless. Why is it useless? Is there any logic? I don't see any logic, because in 70 years of our freedom, we have just fought 4 small wars. Really not the size or the kind of this wars that would entail 4,78,000 crore budget. But we have just fought 4 wars, and and we continue to pump money into this into defense, which looks a little weird. But my dear friends, that is what exactly it is. Life insurance may think, people when they go for buying life insurance, they may think that there is no return. They will think it is very illogical. But just like a prime minister of a country, and let me tell you this in plain fact terms, whether it is the BJP, whether it is the Congress, whether it is the BSP, whether it is the left party, any party may come to power, but nobody touches the budget on defense. It's a thing which is continued. Every prime minister, irrespective of which state he comes from, which religion he comes from, which party he comes from, no difference. Everybody continues that thing. So why it is? Because it's kept on a very the reason for that, it has the highest priority. It is defense, it's protection. So when we think about protection, we never think about return. When we think about protection, we never think about return. When the country thinks about spending on defense, it never thinks about return. It never thinks about how that money could have been deployed more better, because it's a priority, it's a security. Similarly, my dear friends, the amount of money that you put in life insurance, you may think you are getting very less return, but actually it's not logical. It's not logical, but it's something which is very, very necessary. So just like a defense budget in a country is never looked down upon, and even though it doesn't give return for the country, still it is spent. Similarly, a life insurance policy is your defense mechanism, is your defense budget. Your life insurance premium is the defense budget for your family. And what does it defend? What security does it give? There is no war and there is no enemy. The enemy in case of our life insurance is death, is unfortunate death, is disability, it's accidental death. Any kind of death which is there is the enemy. And to defeat that, we need to put premium which helps us to defeat all these unfortunate eventualities which could actually create a havoc with the lifestyle of the family. And when it comes to protection, please don't think about the need, or please don't think about the returns. It is absolutely needed irrespective of whether it gives return or not. And that is where we need to focus, and we need to tell our clients and bring to their attention very strongly that the life insurance policy is like the defense budget of our country. Thank you very much.